Yesterday, CNN published this headline. Exclusive. Trump captured on tape talking about classified document he kept after leaving the White House. It goes on to read, quote, former President Donald Trump acknowledges he held onto a classified Pentagon document about a potential attack on Iran, multiple sources told CNN. Now, CNN admits in publishing this article it has not heard the tape, nor does CNN have a transcript of the tape. They rely on anonymous sources. Former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Virginia, Joseph Moreno, joins me. You know, Joe, this is why I mean, being a lawyer is so different than being a journalist. They haven't heard the tape, no transcript, no context, and even when I report on on things like the alleged bribery of the Biden family, I say alleged, and I even stop and say, let me emphasize the word alleged. But this report has spun completely out across every news outlet. I don't know what's there or not there.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously this yearning appetite for headlines, right? And of course, what better headline is there than to kind of bash Donald Trump? I mean, there's a lot of people that want to see Donald Trump prosecuted.
But this is accusing him of a crime.
Yeah,
this isn't bashing. This isn't saying like he has dumb policies or whatever. This is more.
Yeah, and well, it is very telling to say we're talking about this tape, but we haven't seen the tape, and we can't get into specifics about the tape. We're not really sure what's on it, but we think we know, and here's what we think. Yeah, look, it's weak.
It would never happen in the courtroom. Not in a million years could you get away with that.
No, and that's a good thing, right? You don't want sort of anonymous, hearsay, unattributed kind of talk. You want grounded, sourced, reliable information, whether it's in documents or whether it's by witness testimony. So you're right. Very different in the legal community than you would ever see in something like this.
You know, I don't know what's true or not true. And even in the same thing with the investigation of Biden, and I know that, the Republicans say that, the Biden bribery or family stuff, is that, it makes such a difference to me to say, to stop the viewers and say, we don't know this for sure, or I haven't. I mean, I've said on this air that I haven't read some document that I'm talking about, that I hear about.
I mean, if you want to attack someone in the political realm, right, there's a virtually unlimited way to do it, right? You can attack them on innuendo or policy or on their personal life, their social life, whatever. In the legal community, though, what I think is getting to you is that it bothers us as responsible lawyers when we see the legal system being used as a political weapon, particularly in ways where we don't think there's proper sourcing here or there's proper facts supporting it.
The other thing with every document, not just here, but every document is in audio tape, in context. Is that that's the danger, and I find myself in journalism, and sometimes that danger is that where you don't have the full context of the statement or of the document.
I'm not even sure this is a classified documents case anymore. This is probably a grand jury obstruction case. So even if the tape does say what CNN implies that it says, I'm not even sure it really matters. So this sounds like kind of a 24-hour quick headline, talk about it. And at the end of the day, I'm not even sure how much this really adds to the case of whether Donald Trump was honest with a grand jury that was seeking documents in his possession.
And of course, then you sort of back it up a little bit, is the whole idea of classification is that a U.S. president is so different than a vice president, is that a vice president has to go through certain procedures, or anybody else, in order to declassify. The president is unique. A president can just declassify, just almost, just anything declassifies. The president says it's declassified, it's declassified.
That's right. And that's why I'm really skeptical that if this was just about a classified document possession case, I don't think it would go very far. I think the only way that Donald Trump faces some problem here is if he misled a grand jury and was not honest in turning over documents. That's now the potential exposure for him.
And how would that be hypothetically?
Well, it's because if a grand jury said, turn over all documents.
But did they have a grand jury at the time? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember if they had a grand jury.
If it was a grand jury subpoena.
Grand jury subpoena?
Yeah. And if he was faced with that and he said, I've given you all documents that have classification markings on them. And if it turns out that he didn't,
and he knew it,
he had to have known it, then now it doesn't matter if they're classified or not. It was that he lied about turning over documents that had certain markings on them. And if that's the case, then I think that's potential exposure. Whether or not they were classified or he had declassified them or not is almost beside the point.
Well, I do want to hear the tape. So, assuming that it exists, and I have no reason to doubt that it does exist, but I want to hear it because I'm curious anyway. Joseph Moreno, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Greta.
Do President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden disagree when it comes to guns rights?